I'm wondering what I would do in this video. Then I realized I'm just gonna do random topics if I were given a chance to talk about anything in astrology. So what would I ramble about? So that's what this video is going to be about. So in my last video, I was talking about how Saturn gets exalted in Libra, and how anybody who has an exalted Saturn at least has one broken relationships, and why this happens. So basically, Libra is the house of relationships, and in sidereal astrology there are like three nakshatras. One is Swati nakshatra, another is Chitra nakshatra, another is Vishaka nakshatra. Saturn gets exalted in the midpoint between Swati pada 4 and Vishaka pada 1, and this is the transition from Rahu nakshatra to Jupiter nakshatra, which is Swati, which is the Rahu nakshatra, and Vishaka nakshatra, which is Jupiter nakshatra. So Saturn getting exalted in this particular degree of Libra is for many reasons. One, because Libra is the house of relationship, and Saturn is here to teach you how to sustain relationships. So you were really bad at sustaining relationships in your past life. So that's the obvious part. So there's at least one broken relationship. So what happens is you're very practical in love. You are very grounded when it comes to how you make relationships work. So this does make you a very reliable partner, but sometimes you might end up with somebody who is a little too impulsive, because Saturn is looking at Aries, which is ruled by Mars. And you might end up with somebody who's too impulsive, who's a go-getter, who doesn't have a lot of patience, and you're here probably to teach them patience. But what will happen is this person will not understand what patience is in their initial course of the relationships, and this is going to drain you out, and you're going to serve this person in the first or second relationship. Most of the time Saturn exaltation at least has two broken relationships, meaning two broken serious relationships, not a fling, not one of those 1.5 year girlfriend boyfriend relationships. This could be marriage, like a proper marriage. And half the time you're just running behind your partner, trying to please them, trying to make things work for them, meet ends, and you are working with Mars over here, because Mars is what your partner would exhibit. Your partner would also have a tendency to have like an exalted Mars in their chart, or somebody who's very strong with the Martian energy, like an Aries or Scorpio. So this person is going to be driven by passion. They're not going to be practical. They're going to be impulsive, and it's not going to be easy for you to balance that with your exalted Saturn in Libra, which is all about balance. It's all about grounding. It's all about practically providing for relationships. So yeah, so it does create that karma of trying to make relationships work. And worst case, if you don't want to work out, most of the time what happens is they're just so exhausted. People with Saturn exaltation are just so exhausted when it comes to making relationships work, that they decide to not get into a relationship anymore. They just give up. They just become these hard working people. It's a very good placement for lawyers, by the way. Like if you are in divorce law or relationship related cases, when it comes to the law. So basically divorce law is one of those laws. I don't know, maybe civil cases as well. This would make your karma work in a different way, because you're working on another person's relationship. In that way you're mitigating your own past life baggages that you accumulated by working on somebody else's relationship than your own. So that's a very good way of mitigating the side effects or the extreme trauma that this placement can create. So another thing is Venus, and I think I'm gonna make this video about Saturn. So maybe I'll discuss different ways of looking at Saturn in a chart. So another thing would be Venus in Capricorn. So Venus in Capricorn is not a very Venusian aspect, it's more of a Saturnian aspect. So Venus in Capricorn is a practical partner. You are looking at somebody who would provide for you, who would work for you, who would pay your rent, who would finish your homework. If you are dating in in your teenage years. So this is the kind of partner. So this works for some people, because eventually when you grow up, when you grow out of your 20s and you get into your 40s and something like that, you start to realize how love can push you into these delusional aspects that practically doesn't help in sustainability of relationships. So in that way, Venus in Capricorn is the provider. But at the same time, what happens with Venus in Capricorn after heartbreak is that they get into the other side of Capricorn. So the Capricorn card in tarot is represented by the devil. So when a Capricorn gets heartbroken, they overindulge in alcohol and other kind of recreational drugs or whatever they like to do. They can only indulge in casual aspects of sex and just completely avoid the possibility of commitment until they find a partner who can practically provide those key points. They probably have a checklist, so they can meet you for the first time and just analyze you, psychoanalyze you in a way where whether this will work for them or not, because they've already gone through the whole hazard of trying to fall in love, trying to please a delusional partner, and now they're often very attracted to Venus in Pisces, by the way. Most cases, Venus in Capricorn ends up with a Mars in Pisces or Venus in Pisces, because practicality loves delusion. So that's the attraction over there. So they can be very cutthroat, they can feel dry and like hitting you with a nail. If you meet a Venus in Capricorn person after a heartbreak, it will feel like they're stabbing you in the heart for a reason that you have no idea about, because possibly it's not you, it's just somebody that broke their heart and now they've just become this cold person. So that's another thing. And Venus and Saturn together in Capricorn, like a conjunction. So Saturn is in its own house. Venus is conjunct Saturn, and Venus is the dispositor of Venus is also Saturn. So there's like a double Saturn happening over here. So what happens over here? Venus-Saturn conjunctions are hard in natal. I'm talking about natal right now, but I'll slowly transition into synastry. Venus-Saturn conjunctions are so hard because a Venus-Saturn conjunction person in natal goes through this heartbreak that is so painful that it takes them years to get over it. So when you put this in Capricorn, which is the Saturnian place of what this aspect will talk about. So if you want to understand Venus Saturn, just put Venus and Saturn together in Capricorn and analyze what is going to happen. So Venus is in this place of Saturn that is very practical, wants to make money, is about financial support and providing financially for their partner, and Saturn is coldness, distance, not understanding the aspect of what love is, cutting down delusions of what love can possibly be. So with Venus and Saturn together in Capricorn, what happens is the partner who has this placement can have a hot and cold approach to love. So one day they are there with you, another day they are not there with you. One day they're telling you they want to be in a relationship with you, and another day they are dating somebody else. So this commitment phobia can definitely be seen in this aspect, and it is not a great aspect when it comes to love, but it can be a very good aspect for making money. So these people who are Venus and Saturn conjunct in Capricorn are practical about everything in their life. So they're the go-getters. So even if they fall in love, they know how to get that person. So there's not a lot of romance in this aspect. There's just a lot of practicality, and there's a lot of cutthroat method when it comes to approaching romantic aspects of love, which is not how love works. Venus and Saturn conjunctions can go through heartbreak much early in their life. They can go through heartbreak related to romance. They can go through heartbreak related to their own self-value. There's a part of them that is so close to them that's taken away from them. This can be love, this can be self-value, this can be finances, this can be poverty, this can be a father figure, mother figure, depends on what the ascendant is. So with Venus and Saturn together, what happens is they lose a part of them that is so close to them in childhood, right? Like they're so young and that something is taken away from them by the age of 16, and now they're trying so hard to get back into that state of mind that they had before they lost this. And this is very difficult. And say hi to my cat. He's purring. Okay, I don't know. So okay, I'm trying not to be distracted over here. Okay. So with Venus and Saturn conjunction, the person is trying to, compensate for something. Okay, nache. Compensate for something that they lost so much earlier in life. That something, sometimes it can be self-value, sometimes it can be something related to the father, something related to mother. So they're trying so hard to compensate for something they lost in life. And this could be heartbreak too. And Venus Saturn partners most often go through heartbreak in their life, and this can be very difficult for them to approach love with a stable mindset. So most of the time, people with Venus Saturn conjunction, they find love much later in life. They indulge in a lot of casual stuff, might be casual relationships. They do make stable partners, but the relationship can be with somebody who's much older than them, with a very big, huge age gap. It can be based on just money and nothing else. There could be possibility of a sugar daddy, sugar baby kind of relationship. This is also one of those conjunctions that definitely brings in that kind of an aspect into a person's life.